The last best of 3 series of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Tomb of the Spider Queen is our first map. We have Team Oink going up against CLG, and if you think you saw that series already, then you are at least partially right, because we've seen this already in the winner bracket, but now we are in the loser bracket final. And the winning team here will make it out of the tiebreaker to tomorrow's qualifier. Losing team, on the other hand, is going to be eliminated from the tournament already and will not be able to get a shot at play for the qualification for Dreamhack Tour. I'm not alone. With me is AntiHero. This is also our first map, by the way, in the best of 3 series here. As you can see, the draft has already started, and we see in this case now bans on Illidan. CLG has thrown all the best of 3 series today into nothing else but only ban out Illidan. Khaldor's finally being banned out as well.
And we're playing Tomb, not Infernal, by the way.
Yeah, I already
sorry.
No worries. Yeah, but a bit of a different map. Like the confusion because we got a different draft a bit earlier on which was noted that we play or start things off with Infernal Shrines today, which is not the case. Tazada picked early here for CLG on this map, a counter with Li Ming and Johanna for Team Oink, and we have a Zul play right now with CLG still needing to pick another hero. So yeah, AntiHero, what do you think about the draft so far? And I mean, given that we had a very close series between the two teams in the winner bracket, what's your personal expectation for the series in total?
I think it's going to be quite an interesting series again. I believe that it's going to be a 2-1 again. I'm not really sure which team yet. I feel like I'm leaning towards CLG again, but the teams are quite on a close level here. And on first sight, we didn't have a single Xul yet today.
Yeah, it's the first one. He was neither banned nor taken so far.
Yeah. And
I like that they switched from Stitches to Sagara, to be honest with you.
I mean, I quite fancy Stitches a lot, but on this map especially with the Hungry for More. But they want to get Sagara for the lane control, a little bit more safe pick, I guess. And the Xul for the rotations is also pretty strong. Oink, though, with the Li Ming and Johanna, kind of have a good rotation squad already with pick of potential.
That is also a lot of pressure play that we have with Zul and Sagara. I mean, the only thing that basically misses in the mix is the Sylvanas, and you have the dream team for pushing tower, right?
I mean, you could also throw an Esmo Dunk in there, but I mean, we still have to make a composition out of that.
Oh, I can totally see an Asmodaan here. Like the days when we had Tomb of the Spider Queen being like the home court of Asmodaan, those were the days. I really liked that a lot. I would not mind seeing Asmodaan again, but I highly doubt this is going to be the series where he makes his comeback.
Yeah.
It doesn't really surprise me, by the way, that Thrall is being banned out. We've been talking about like the push heroes on the side of CLG, and when we're talking bot lane on Tomb of the Spider Queen, it's very often the case that you see Zagara and Zul there. Thrall is one of those solo laners that you can also play. What do you think Oink can actually put at the solo lane right now to like counterplay a little bit?
You know what I would pick? I would pick Chen here. It's a pretty good pick on this map as well. It's like one of Chen's more stronger maps, I would say, since there's like a dedicated 1v1 lane. And against Sagara, it's quite good to lane with Chen, because you can deny the creep, you can out-sustain her, you can do basically everything you want to her, except dying. So that's kind of a good pickup.
Yeah, they don't like your idea, though. They go for the Stitches instead.
Now they still have to figure out who are they going to put on the bottom. I see their composition for this map, but I don't see anyone they want to put on the bottom lane so far. Maybe the Stitches. He isn't a bad 1v1 laner. He has clearing with his poison, he has clearing with his cleaver, and he has self-sustain with his E. But if it's really enough for Sagara, I'm not really sure.
CLG, they have the pressure, they have a Tazada as solo support. Not really what you want to have against the Lunara, so it's quite likely that we're going to have a second support for them now as well. Rhaegar is still available. We could also like see, I suppose even depending on how they feel about it. Yeah, I think Rhaegar is a little bit more likely. I was thinking about Malfurion because both of these teams have actually, especially CLG, have played Malfurion quite a bit. Rhaegar is a pretty solid choice here, though. Has also then the the lightning shield that you can use to take the web weavers out a little bit faster. As a frontliner, Antti, what do you think? Are we going to see a Muradin in this setup? I don't think that...
Muradin's banned, so...
Oh yeah, you're right.
I would say ETC would be fine. Lunara, Li Ming cannot interrupt, except Li Ming goes way for force, which is quite good, actually. Citrus and Johanna are most likely gonna get caught, but Johanna still can use a trade with a Condemn to deny it, so Leoric is kind of risky, but I think it might be better than ETC already for this map.
That's a ton of wave clear, by the way. I mean, that is insane what they have on the board.
I don't like CLG's draft at all. I have to say, yes, they have wave clear. They do a lot of good things for rotations. I mean, what can you do against Leoric and Xul slamming your minions? Nothing, basically.
Right now it feels like what they are going to do is just like try to not fight and just push. Because in a team fight, I would definitely give the upper hand to Oink.
Yeah, it looks like a more kind of cheesy composition, I would say, that the CLG composition. Because you have to think about who does damage in CLG's team. I mean, there's the Poison Nova, there's Zagara with more maybe, but who else? Who else is gonna really do damage? Leoric maybe to the tanks, but
it's also not on point damage. It's like nothing where you say like, okay, you take a single target down, whereas we have a Li Ming on the other side, we have a Lunara, and that seems to be just a bit more... a little bit more focused when it comes to the damage itself. A Poison Nova is nice, but it's just like spread damage, and Malfurion is very good to negate that.
Yeah.
And I feel like the idea really is to control lanes, have the wave clear, push them back, and snowball with the first Webibar waves.
Yeah, but looking at Oink to have their synergies pointed out, they do have like a hook into root composition, which can get followed up by Li Ming. They also have Stitches, Putrid Ball with Unfair Advantage, level 13 talent from Lunara, which quite of supplies him with a lot of damage over time. Malf, as you already pointed out, who's gonna take down Malf? There's not really any pressure against Malf whatsoever. There's no real damage output.
Maybe an Entomb, but like even with an Entomb, if he goes Ice Block 13, he's not gonna have a problem with that either. And even if you hit an Entomb, if you go for Entomb in the first place and don't take
who's
March,
gonna burst him in the Entomb?
Exactly. So there's a couple of problems for CLG, some questions they have to answer in the game. We're going to go into the first game. We're going to find out what the thought process behind this is, if they can make it happen, or if Oink takes them down on the first map here in the last best of 3 series, the loser bracket final between Team Oink and CLG. Game number 1 in the best of 3 series, everybody. Team Oink versus Casual Logic Gaming, the first game in the best of 3 series. And to the left side we have Ziku on Johanna, Suris on Lunara, Mopsio on Stitches, Lunon on Malfurion, and Wolfjo on Li Ming. And to the right side of the map, an interesting composition here for Casual Logic Gaming, playing it with a lot of wave clear. Nika on Zagara, we have Leo from Korea and Rhaegar, Shihu on Zul, Juf on Leoric, and Kreku is playing Tacita. They seem to like a little bit of team fight potential, but we're going to find out if that's true or not in this game now. First game of the series, and already some interesting talents taken here, as AntiHero and I are going to bring you the coverage for this best of 3.
Yeah, looking at Xul, for example, with the adaptation on the backlash, normally you would see the Shackler most of the times to dodge the basic attacks, but there's not enough value only against Lunara, and against double tank, ripping 15% of the HP off is kinda a good thing to do.
Yeah, speed for Rhaegar, again, already mid-lane commitment here by both teams. Zagara at the bot lane, and it seems like Stitches is going to have the great job of laning against her. Not really a lot of good solo laners on the side of the blue team, so they have to use Stitches in this case. Nika should have a pretty easy time winning this lane down here. Has of course to be a bit careful, since there could always be rotations heading his way, but overall the wave clear on the side of the casuals is pretty fantastic.
Yeah. At level 7, Mopsio might get the bite talent that he gets reduced cooldowns. Last bite, I think it's called. And therefore he could maybe win the lane against... He could eat Zagara's roaches or the Hydralisk just to sustain himself while denying the damage on himself. But that's kind of far-fetched, because level 7 is far away for now.
Yeah, and he's already eating a lot of damage, as you can see down here. He's on half HP, whereas the rotation is still ongoing in the mid and top lane. But as we said before, the team fight potential seems to be a bit better on the side of Team Oink. So that's one of the big advantages that they will have in this game, and they're going to try and use that. Shihu is locked down. Oh, but so is Johanna, and she is dead. Malfurion, on the other hand, might... Wow. I mean, Lunon is able to escape. It could be a turnaround kill. Oh, the hook! Kreku gets blasted to pieces, and Juve is also about to fall. Nice counter kill. 2 of them actually happening now against the casuals.
Yeah, that was quite of a nice turnaround by the by Team Oink here. And Shiro also low, getting hooked there.
Yeah, like the entire time the hooks of Mopsio are pretty solid.
Oh, the well might save him though.
Yeah, Shihu is going to be saved. But still, like that opening, if you think about it, all started with a kill against Johanna, and it turned around with a double kill played by Team Oink. Yeah, just looking really solid here, and it would have been great for the casuals to get that early kill and then maybe a bit more pressure on the lanes itself so that they can snowball with those web weavers, because I still feel like that's more or less what they have to do in this game, right?
Yeah, I still feel like if the snowball isn't coming, that the Team Oink will just like win this game by quite a big time in team fights. So also at level 7, if Lunara gets Nature's Culling already, and Johanna has Night Takes Pawn, and Malfurion has the Moonburn, there's so much D-push as well, and I feel like that maybe CLG overkilled it with their wave clear, that they don't even need it that much.
What do you think about, like, well, wait one moment, Shihu is again in a little bit of trouble over here. We have also Leo in a lot of that. Yeah, there's the hook again, and Rega is down. That's the third kill now for Team Oink, and they are looking strong, nearly taking down Tacita too, who has to well up. Very shaky start now for the casuals. But what I wanted to ask is, how do you feel about like swapping out that Zul maybe with the Sylvanas? You have a little bit more team fight potential with her, but you still have a lot of wave clear and also like pressure play with Sylvanas on lanes. Do you think that might have been a bit of a better choice?
I like the Xul. I have to say, I wouldn't swap out the Xul. I would maybe swap out the Tacita, even though he got first pick. They probably didn't know in which direction the draft is going to head. But I feel like swapping out the Tacita and maybe instead of getting Tacita, getting like a Jaina maybe? I'm not sure, maybe some more damage. Maybe Vala is always solid, right? So putting some more damage in there would be fine, and then getting a little bit of CC with that. Sylvanas would be fine, but they might as well like damage. Meanwhile in the middle, Zico getting engaged though.
Yeah, and well, for now it looks like Johanna might actually fall. 18 gems on her right now. But overall, Juve has to move away with a quick Wraith Walk. Went into Fealty onto Death once again on level 4, so we're not seeing the Hardened Bones here. Very popular talent on the other hand to take on this map in particular. We're seeing still Feral Heart taken. Bot lane, Zagara is doing her thing against Stitcher still, and well, Mopsio gets even a bit of reinforcement by Suris trying to help out. But you can see that both of the towers are already out of ammunition, so Zagara is doing exactly what we kind of expected here and winning the lane.
Yeah, but the rotations middle and top are not that overwhelming that the turrets are dropping, so it's fine to send one guy down to the bottom to just help them out, the Mopsio that is, but that didn't help him quite enough there.
Yeah, it was a good rotation from the casuals, making sure that they get the kill here. And there's actually quite a few gems that were also lost. That's always a bit of a problem. There's still enough gems to make the first turn-in happen, but both of the turn-ins are currently guarded by the opponent's team, by the casuals.
Yeah,
having on level
the turn-in though, and Nika gets a turn-in through.
Red team with the turn-in. Nature's Culling, by the way, taken on level 7 as expected. Conviction, we have the Tenderizer, plus also after Rampant Growth, now the Enduring Growth taken for Malfurion. And a few talents that is also quite interesting. I mean, Austin's Renewal taken for Leoric. We've been talking about him being the only tank for his team, the solo tank here with the reanimation and the Austin's Renewal. His cooldown reduction is going to be pretty much incredible when he dies. Rapid Incubation also for lane sustain for Zagara now.
Yeah, the weapons are not getting too much value, only on the bottom. On the top in the middle, the turrets already still have the shots left. And at the bottom, there's no shots left, and so the weapons are just going through to the fort there.
It's actually a little bit annoying for Suris that he's not on a lane where he can just like burst the web weaver down with his Nature's Culling. That's a huge problem, but with 4 heroes at the bot lane here, Lunara just can't get close enough to the web weaver to really make anything happen, and now they lose a fort, so that bit of a snowball that we've been talking about, the attempt, is definitely happening. The first fort is down, top lane. We've seen 2 of the towers destroyed, and that is all of a sudden a massive lead in experience for the casuals.
That's what we have been talking about. Getting the web weavers early is the way how CLG are going to dominate this game and trying to snowball. They're doing a really good job so far. 1 level lead, but we don't have to overestimate it unless it's the level 10 advantage. Level 10 versus 11, I still give the edge, even though it's like stat advantage, to the team of Oink here, because they have, as we already mentioned a couple of times, the stronger setup overall in team fights.
Skeleton Mages have now been taken. I feel it makes sense. Looking at that Malfurion and Tranquility, Poison Nova, not really having the perfect follow-up for it, Skeleton Mages can definitely do something for you. I think that we will definitely see a second web weaver wave for the red team before the blue team gets their first one. They just try and struggle to go to level 10, and they need that to defend the next wave. They're very close though, And Rhaegar is already turning in. We have 7 that are missing. Shihu is already on point, and we are having... Well, this is carrying the gems.
One gem is still missing.
Yeah, they're lacking 1. And there's the level 10, so maybe the blue team is able to turn in themselves now.
Yeah, they do get have the hard cap right now, so they get vision of the mid lane for quite some time and have the red team deal with it. So maybe they will get to turn into the bottom, but already Juve interrupting them.
Zico has 41 gems. He needs to be careful here, but if he gets the turning completed, then they of course have another web weaver. For the first one for them, we had Zul now starting to rotate around as well. 5 gems are missing on the side of the casuals. The lockdown with the Bone Prison against Mopsio. He gets healed though. Ancestral even for Zul. Maybe a bit early from Leo here, but saving Zul for now.
But you could see the full combo of Zul and Zagara hitting all her creeps, Hydralisk and Rotis on him. Did 50% of stitches, and he just got 1 Malfurion heal, and he basically is full HP again. So this is the kind of problem they are dealing with for now.
Yeah, nice and Tomb against Mopsio. Is there gonna be another heal? Lunan is finally there, but it's already too late. The kill is successful. Juve is able... Oh, gets healed and shielded just before he falls. So a good kill in this scenario against Stitches. That really helped. Didn't lose any gems because there were enough heroes around to pick them up again. But we're having now the second web weaver wave coming in, and with Stitches not even there to help out, that's of course a bit of a problem. But at least we have heroic abilities available for Team Oink to defend against them.
Looking at the level advantage, it's still 1 level lead, even though it's the second turn in already, so it's not that team CLG is gonna get the biggest lead of the experience right now. It is a little bit more than before after this turn-in, but it's still that Oink isn't out of the game yet.
Yeah, but level 13 is very close, and of course Lunara is going to try and de-push these waves as fast as she can. We already saw in the mid lane how much damage that Nature Culling actually does to it, but we have still pressure in the mid lane where another fort might fall, and level 13 is there. That's a 1.5 level lead that we already see, and that's exactly the snowball that they were looking for, and they might get that, so Oink has to be careful here.
Yeah, there's always the potential for the hook right now, but with the short hook range, it's not gonna be possible that easy. Also, you have to see who you're gonna hook. Leoric is not gonna be a useful target. Same for Tassada. So there are only 3 really viable targets to hook here, and then with the short range and the fast rotations, it's really hard for Mobster to get value on his hooks for now.
Corpse Explosion has also now been taken, and we have still that lead in levels. We have 99 damage, 100 gems right now, 99 a second ago. So with all those gems, they can more or less complete 2 turn-ins, as they're still getting a few more. Wisp is checking boss for now, but they need that level 13. If they can turn in again, that would be great for them, but at the same time, we're also seeing the casuals trying to look for the turn-in number 3. There's still a couple of gems short, 18 in total actually. Hook attempt again, but as you already pointed out, AntiHero, it's still without the level 16 talent, and that's an issue, since they just can't lock those heroes down.
Yeah, there's also, like, sometimes you can fight with a talent down, because your team is not gonna, is not profiting enough of the level, let's say in this case level 13, but for Oink especially here, they wanna wait for 13. Lunara with the unfair advantage, if it's Johanna with the burning rage just to clear the creep, or the Stitches with the bigger smash, they are all valuable talents. There's like no talent where you say, yeah, I don't really need that one. In my opinion, we can fight here. So they still have to get on the easy talent footing here, and it's gonna be 13 versus 14. So that might be the next chance to fight, but as we can already see, enough gems to be paid in again by CLG here.
Yeah, and that's something that they have to prevent, I feel, and they're trying to do exactly that, but it's gonna be very, very close. We are seeing them moving in, 13 versus 13, the unfair advantage is there. 2 gems short of a turn-in, and right now the opportunity for Team Oink to maybe get their first web weaver wave, that would be an important one to take. But Tassada is already attempting to turn in up at the top. Lunan is too late. This is another web weaver wave for the red team, and that is a huge problem right now for Team Oink.
Yeah, and we could also really see Leoric 1 versus 4 denying the pay-ins by Oink here, and he just gets hooked, but it's not like Leoric would care if he has his E ready and he just Wraith walks out of there, and that's basically the problem for the story of this game so far. Stitch is not getting enough value out of his hooks, and the rotation is being too slow.
Yeah, there's another Entomb attempt, but this time not locking anybody down. Lunan with a very early Tranquility here, a little bit too early for my liking, to be honest with you. Suris is starting to move in. They're getting good pressure against the opponent here, ignoring the Web Weavers for now, trying to get their kills early. Juve is going to fall if they play their cards right, and the shield is saving him for now. There's only Lunara with the damage, nobody else really going for him. They have to move back again, but all of a sudden we are seeing the casuals trying to turn it around. More and Bone Prison hitting at the same time. Again, Juve moving away here. Hook not hitting, the Web Weavers still going for the keeps though.
Yeah, the team of the Oink is pretty low right now. They might just continue chasing. Shiho is really low, though. Gets Ancestral.
Yeah, Ancestral coming through.
Oh,
there's the Force Wall. Mopsio in trouble. Here comes the Bone Prism. Another Entomb against Ziku. He has nearly 60 gems. They need to be careful with him. Move back. The wall has not fallen completely, but the Web Weavers are still at the top.
Ziku out of the wall here.
Lunara is finally there. Ziku just barely moving away and dies. The gems are collected, but Johanna is down and level 16 talents are ready for the red team.
Yeah, that was kind of a nice pick-up in the end, but it feels like CLG again is like trying to hurt the enemies with like foam swords here.
I really feel that Oink misplayed early on. They had a very nice situation and then they lose Stitches at the bot lane to that very obvious rotation that we saw from the casuals, and the game really snowballs against them. Exactly what we said about earlier, like once you snowball, then the casuals have a chance, and they snowball way too hard. There were several opportunities for Oink to get their Web Weavers and they did not successfully turn in. So right now they hold 127 gems and they are 2 levels behind. Like they kind of gave this game up.
There's always those situations on Tomb of the Spider Queen where you call it the stale situation or like a stalemate. The red team, for example, now they don't have gems, they cannot turn in.
Yep.
Do they want to do boss? Not really against 5 men, 5 versus 5. They cannot really pull that off. So it's basically like, while the red team would like to do something, they cannot. There's no objective in reach of them. And it's like, they cannot really collect the gems that easily, meaning is like, look at Shifu for example at the bottom now. He went out too far and now he's getting engaged on him.
Yeah, but there's still the Ancestral and now he could turn against him. Now they have to fight with the talent disadvantage. The more is there. Again, Trank being used. This time they're trying to save Wolf Joe and they do. Lunan has to be careful there. Suris is dishing out the damage, trying to make that happen. They have a talent disadvantage, but they still get that kill against Juve. Do they? Yes, they do. So Juve is down, and maybe now they can finally turn in. If they can make that work, even someone moving just to the top turn-in spot would help them here. Lunan completing it, and that might be the chance to start the comeback.
Yeah, that's what I've been talking about. There was nothing on the map, in particular for CLG here, and Team Oink could just relax, take the deep breath and kind of soak EXP and maybe seize their chances on a guy overextending. You could see Xul on the bottom just overextending for EXP and for the gems, and that's kind of Oink pulled the trigger and just engaged on him. Now it's a good thing that they did lose the gems earlier, which sometimes happens if the one team is just snowballing you hard. They didn't though, and just secure themselves a turn, and that's a chance to come back, because they might secure 2 in a row actually.
Let's not forget that they have also on level 7 the Nature's Culling. That's going to help them push down the towers now, and that is extra experience. Now we have both of the teams on level 16, and as you pointed out, they still hold a lot of gems. As long as they don't die here, they should be able to get at least a second turn in, and if they play their cards right, even a third turn in is within their reach. But they have to go for the fight right now. That team fight potential is pretty huge. We talked about it earlier. Let's see if they can make it happen. Lunan is already in a little bit of trouble. He doesn't have his Tranquility up just yet using the Ice Block, but Shiku is incredibly low. He's about to fall here, and he has 21 gems that he currently holds. He's dead. Nobody's going for the gems as we speak, and Suris on his Lunara is still trying to go for a second kill against Leoric. Leo is not even there. He's just now moving in, and the casuals making a bit of a misplay in this situation.
And now with level 16 talents, Mirror Ball and Seeker gets a lot of value on the boss. You can just damage the boss for 2k damage every 3 seconds, which is kind of insane pushing that one down.
Yeah, boss is being attacked, but it's a 4 versus 5 situation, and it seems like the casuals are willing to go for it, at least for a moment, but boss is taken. And again, Leoric moving away. Turn in can happen any moment right now. They're trying to go for the kill against Juve. Wraithwalk is in cooldown. Not for much longer, but still they attempt to go for the kill here. Boss is already pushing the top lane. Zagara the only one pressuring against it. And here comes another turn-in attempt now by the blue team. They still hold 130 gems. That's 2 turn-ins in a row, actually.
Yeah, that's pretty insane with the boss as well. They might as well just secure the top keep here.
Yeah, they're going for it, and I mean, I don't really blame them. Look at the damage output that we're seeing on there, and we've been talking about that teamfight potential throughout the entire game. And with that one kill against the casuals, all of a sudden the chance for momentum is given to the blue team, and they're using it. Tranquility has been used. They're trying to save Stitches. Mopsio is really low, gets Maud, which in this case actually works in his favor. And that keep is going to fall. Mopsio is still alive. It's a 5 versus 5 on the map. The keep is down. The web weavers are starting to move back in. First keep eliminated. And that experience lead that we've seen already earlier on the side of the casuals is shrinking rapidly.
Interesting talent choice by Citrus to not go for the pulverize or the fishing hook or the shish kebab on this map. He basically went for the stone skin here, just trying to be more safe than he already is, I guess, and trying to not die to the Leoric W.
Yeah, mid lane towers are now taken out too, by the way, and at the bot lane we're seeing a similar picture once again. The situation is actually like turning against the casuals very rapidly. They have to even move back right now. Everybody is just like heading back, leaving the web weaver at the bot lane alone, but the two towers are going to get eliminated either way. Experience lead is still there for the casuals, but it's a very small one, and as we pointed out before, they can just simply turn in again.
Yeah, it's the third turn in a row, and that would maybe even secure them level 20, but maybe also level 20 for CLG on the line soon here.
Yeah, so when you're talking about damage, by the way, we're having Lunara with 71,000 damage. Currently, Zul with 186k and Slimming with 136k, the top siege damage dealers for their team. Zagara, when it comes to hero damage, still taking the top shots here for the side of the casuals. But Oink is really back in this. If they get that turn in, that would be amazing for them. And the kill count is currently 5 versus 5. Oink wants to fight here. They are totally happy fighting before level 20.
Yeah, level 20 approaching for CLG here, but there's the engage on Tassada.
Oh, Tassada gets away. Shuv gets healed. Wow, barely not able to take him down here. And well, with level 20 is not available just yet. Again, we have the damage output. The root is there against the Auric. He even gets hooked and is about to fall. And Tomb does nothing for him in his setup. The Maw doesn't hit anybody either. And this is a horrible position right now for the casuals, even though they are so close to their Storm Talons.
Yeah, kind of a good comeback here, but as we already mentioned, it's just not really reasonable for CLG just to go fighting here. They should have just maybe went to get Soak 20 and then try to get like the last push going with level 20 versus 19, even if the web weavers are descending now. Now they kind of gave up a kill for not so much reason, and look, they're still at 20 before Oink here, and they could have used that time to just fight here, but Oink, they will just get level 20 now as well, and kind of even out the board again.
It really felt like they seem to be feeling the pressure play, and they were trying to make sure that there's no turn-in, but that turn-in happened either way. Now there could be an Entomb though, and that's an Entomb against Lunar. He has his Ice Block still that he can use. Tranquility has been used here. Ice Block apparently in cooldown, my bad. And he goes down. That's actually a huge play on the side of the casuals now, even with the web weavers pushing. They get Ziku too. That's quite a few gems that are being lost here, and that double kill all of a sudden with a level 20 advantage is putting a huge dent into that comeback that we've seen from Team in Blue.
Yeah, that's what I've been talking about. They should have just went for the 20 and then immediately fight. Luna got engaged on by the skeletal mages of Xul, and then he needed to run away, got the bone prison on him, he dodged it nicely with the ice block, and then in the end just got caught by the Entomb here. Also the mortal wound on Xul in this case.
Like, talking about the mortal wound for a moment, I kind of like it against Malfurion, but I would have loved for him to pick up a few more talents going down that road on 13 and 16.
Yeah, I would have liked him to go for the cooldown reduction, at least. But I think it's a fine choice overall still. But yeah, with another talent it might have been it would have more strength behind it.
Yeah, would have been giving him a little bit more value here. Overall, though, we have a web weaver wave again for the casuals. I mean, this game is getting really interesting at this point, but we have 20 versus 20, and I feel that's a little bit of a disadvantage right now for the casuals, because their team fight potential is not really catering towards the situation. They won the last fight because of a talent advantage that they had. Now they have the web weavers pushing. They could have actually, even in a 5 versus 3 scenario, gone for keep at the top lane, I feel, when they got the double kill. They were already at the top lane. The wall is more or less down, so I really think they could have gone for a kill and just let the Web Weavers push through the walls on their end. Would at least have given them a bit of a top lane advantage.
Engage in the middle of Draco almost immediately that time.
Yeah, I mean, they tested. I was in so much trouble here. Oh, more being used at the same time as Entomb. That didn't really work out in their favor. Here comes the Malfurion, and that's nice heals there. Zico is still a bit careful with his plays, but of course he has Indestructible now too. Malfurion with great healing power, and that Web Weaver wave has been defended against immediately. Well played by Team Oink. And still the casuals trying to go for a kill against the keep. I mean, they need to make something happen right now. There's the ice block on the other hand as Lunan is being attacked once more. Juve moves away, trying to escape. There's the hook and the ancestral. Shihu is safe for now. Juve is very low though. Leo out of mana. They have to retreat. I don't even think they can push the top lane any longer. They keep barely surviving.
One Storm will do it now. Look at Trico, he's already going.
He's really tempted, isn't he? He's like, do a suicide for it, and then he's like, yeah.
Look at the bottom though, it's also gonna die, the keep. I think it would have been fine for Trico to maybe go in there. I believe he would have gotten away, but getting the keep at the bottom already is enough here. And it was a nice strategy of CLG to just put the pressure on the middle, kind of letting the side Web Weavers go their own way, pushing the wave up and then going for the structures. On the bottom, it worked entirely. There was a whole wall still standing there and they got the keep for free basically. At the top, the keep was exposed, but it got it to 1 HP, so it might get taken down at one point by a random minion wave or a random spell from Tassadar.
Look at the numbers, by the way. 260,000 siege damage on Zur. 150,000 damage taken on Leoric. He's really the punching ball of his team at this point. And, I mean, that's a bit incredible. Nice hook, by the way, against Tassadar, but of course he gets away, so not really a lot of that he got out of this one. Still trying to fight here, and I mean, Lunara is just like jumping in with her shots the entire time, trying to finally get a kill for a team. There's no turn-in potential on the side of Team Oink. They just don't have enough gems.
Yeah, still looking at the numbers, even though its numbers, the damage on Lunara is kind of over time all the time. Oh, they engaged at the top though.
Yeah, big engage here, nice lockdown, more again, but that kill against Leoric, no, the Ancestral is there again. Zico is proccing his Indestructible, but we have Malfurion with the Tranquility using the Ice Block too. Shihu is so low, he's finally down, and that's the kill against Leoric now as well. So once again, Li Ming with a cooldown resets. And she can maybe go for another one, but they are going for boss and win a 5 vs 3 situation with all of them on full HP, nearly full mana with the exception of Malfurion. There's nobody to deny that to them.
Yeah, if they get the boss now, look at CLG though. They try to maybe make a backdoor play happen here. They're going through the bottom. The bottom is exposed. They know if the boss is going to call, they are not going to do it. So Mopsio is taking it on its own with Lunan, and 3 people are already recalling here.
Yeah, everybody's recalling, at least most of them. And Vega is not even moving back. They're trying to make it happen. There's no chance of this happening, in my opinion. Leo is already dead. There's the kill against Nika, and with 50% on the core, what is... Nothing. Tassadar just gets blown up. Juve is trying to ride in on the poverty horse, but that's not gonna happen either. Yeah.
They made the best out of a lost situation. They tried to go for the core, maybe if the boss was kind of annoying them with a tornado or stopping the recalls or something, they maybe could have gotten it a little bit closer, but yeah, there was nothing to be done in that situation.
Not really. You're totally right. I mean, they know that if boss is taken, since the keep at the top lane has already been destroyed, that the game's over. So in this case, there's not really a lot that they can do. They were trying to go for it. It was a Hail Mary. Didn't work out for them. There's the victory for Team Oink, taking the lead in the best of 3 series here now in the loser bracket final. Well played by Oink. Let's head straight into game number 2. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back to game number 2 after a long and intense break. We have now Team Oink versus CLG, this time on Infernal Shrine, so that's kind of what we were already, originally told would be the first map, but it's actually the second one. We have a lead for Team Oink with a 1-0 against CLG, and right now, again, who would have thought? ban on the side of CLG, what could it possibly be? Could it be the Illidan that they banned out in every single game? Hell yeah, it is Illidan again. False set banned by Team Oink, this time with an early pickup on Kalthas, and CLG is going for something that we've also seen a lot today. Sonya early on, together with the Tassadar, which kind of forces Team Oink now into that thrall that they just picked up.
Yeah, so far nothing really extraordinary here. Like Illidan and Fawcett being banned basically every single series so far, at least once. And yeah, we see it's a kind of a one-shot composition coming out of Oink, I would say, with the Tyrande and the Thrall and KT going for a little bit of lockdown here. Enemy team, as you already mentioned, Sonya Tassada, trying to go for the more shrine-heavy play with the storms and the whirlwind value for the minions, for the skeletons. So let's see what CLG is going to ban.
Yeah, CLG, I mean, like, they could try and deny the double support combo a little bit, but I feel like their chances of making that happen are slim to none, since if they ban the Uther, then Rhaegar is going to be picked and vice versa. Going for the ban on Li Ming. I'm not 100% certain how much I like that. We talked a lot about Li Ming here today, and especially about that she has a bit of a diminished value on this map in particular, because you don't get as much out of the poke as you do on other maps. I like that CLG goes into the Stitches, and I actually think this should have been the ban on the side of Team Oink. CLG has picked Stitches in nearly every single game where they got the chance to do that today, and especially on the Infernal Shrines matches, they constantly started to pick Stitches here for the build. So I could have seen a Stitches ban even just to deny them that.
Yeah, so Stitches and Rhaegar again. We have seen this composition quite a lot. On in the other side, Murden kind of following the stunlock composition again. Let's see what they pick up. Like, Li Ming is banned this time. We might see a Vala, maybe a Jaina. We didn't see Jaina a lot. Maybe a second support. I think they're fine by picking Monk. We didn't see Monk a whole lot in the recent games.
Did we see him at all? I don't think so, right?
Not a single time. But we saw Malf like 20 times now. But
Yeah.
here's he again.
I mean, Oink, they like them too. I was actually thinking about CLG maybe going even into Lunara as the last pick with the Malfurion if he's actually picked. I'm not quite sure if they can really make that play. Oh,
Lily.
please. Yes, we are looking for adventure, boys.
Yeah. So the Calaris Lily cosplay hype is real at the moment.
Yeah.
And
Tyrande
Oink.
Lily, the new dream team. So that was a little bit unexpected, I have to admit. I didn't really see that happening.
I kind of see some synergy, not the most. I think Oink has to show me that one, but Water Dragon,
Dragon, baby.
I suppose, maybe to just get the lockdown as well, and then the Serpent isn't really that bad, right? With
No.
Thrall, you can put it on Thrall, he's gonna heal himself, he has kind of his own extra damage output. It's nice, in my opinion.
I like the Water Dragon, especially the one thing that I never really realized about the Water Dragon is the cooldown on that thing is so small. It's crazy. Like,
How long is it? 60 seconds? 40 seconds? Something like that,
I
right?
think it was 45 or something like
Yeah,
that.
something
or
like
like
that.
50.
Between that.
It was between 40 and 60 seconds, something along
Yeah.
those lines. So that thing is kind of crazy. I have to admit, though, I like Sylvanas on this map a lot. I just don't know if that's really the damage dealer that they needed. If you gain momentum on Infernal Shrines with the Sylvanas, you are going to destroy. But do you think this is really the range damage dealer that they needed in the setup?
I feel like CLG again is lacking the damage output. I don't see the lineup working too much with Stitches as well. Stitches is basically like a putrid bile machine right now. He doesn't really have value getting hooks. He can hook Tassada Force Wall, but who's gonna follow up on that? There's not enough damage, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, we have, like, of course, the Blinding Wind as well, so that's not going to make it easier for Sonya either. I feel with the double support on the side of Team Oink, even with, like, Tyrande Lily, I agree with you. I think they are they might lacking a bit of damage in this setup.
Yeah, so I would guess that Lily is kind of giving them the double support and they don't feel threatened. But Sylvanas might also, I don't want to say anything, but mind control maybe against like Lily or Tyrande just to get the instant pick off.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that we haven't seen Mind Control played at all so far in competitive. I thought that a few teams would at least experiment in like lower tournaments a bit with it.
Yeah, mind control is kind of most of the times fulfilling the same job as silence does. You try to isolate that one guy from his team, basically, right?
Hmm.
And with the silence, you basically isolate him from getting heals, and with the mind control, you isolate him from basically by distance, right? And you basically try to one-shot this one guy always with that
Yeah.
composition.
I have to admit that I really like the composition I we see for Oink right now. That's a lot of stun lock. That's good for early rotations. They have a bit of a snipe build here as well. They have Kalthas for AoE damage. Water Dragon could be reality here, and I feel that's what we're going to see. At least I hope that's what happens here. We have potential for both ults actually being taken. Infernal Shrines is game number 2, ladies and gentlemen, though, and we have our second game coming up, which could also be the last game of the day, depending on who's going to take it. Oink has the lead, so let's find out if the casuals can take the second map or if it's going to be a 2-0 victory for Team Oink. Lily, baby! We have Team Oink going up against the casuals, and we have a little panda looking for adventure. To the left side of the map, Ziku on Tyrande for Team Oink, Suris on Kalthas, and we have Lunarn on Lily. Wolfjo, on the other hand, is playing as Thrall and Mopsio and Muradin up at the front line. Their team is in the lead in the with a 1-0 in the best of 3 series here. And to the right side of the map, we have Żuf on Stitches for our Polish team. Casual Logic Gaming. Shihu on Sonya, Nika on Sylvanas. We have Kreku on Tacita, and Leo from Korea is playing Rega. An interesting setup for sure. Kinda as expected, Serpent build so far for Lily. And of course, the level 10 talent is what most of us are looking for right now. We are hoping for the Water Dragon. We could still see her going for the heal ult. And at the same time, we have now a bit of a 5-man commitment on the side of the Polish team.
Yeah, again, we see Tree of Food on the side of Citrus. Interesting pickup again on this map.
Yeah, already damage against... Oh, Kreku goes down. Tacita dead. Double support on both sides. Mopsio eating a little bit of extra damage. But in this case, he is still surviving. The setup with now at the top lane against Thrall against Sonya, pretty much what we're used to for most cases. I have to admit that I really like the rotation on the side of the blue team. With them running a Muradin and a Tyrande plus the Kalthas for the additional CC, it's pretty dangerous.
I like the full Serpent build on Lily. I mean, on 13 you don't have a talent for that. But on level 1 sometimes I feel like the Conjurer's Pursuit might be a better choice to just have more mana sustain. Overall, you really don't... But it's really hard to tell. The 50% duration is insane.
Yeah, it's really, really strong. And on 13, a few of the options, I mean, she has a couple of options there,
yeah,
but we have... Shrink Ray, for example, is a great tool against Sonya in particular, so that's something that you could try and utilize there. I like their combo. They were actually looking at Malfurion for a long time and decided in favor of Lily, and I am very curious to see how that's going to play out for them.
Yeah, Malfurion also would have worked in that setup quite a bit, but now we still have to care about Citrus hooks, as like with Lily as well as with Malf, so... It's again for me about the hooks of Citrus here.
I agree. I have one problem that we see with the Citrus hooks. There is no real follow-up with Lockdown. The only Lockdown that we have would be on Rega, who did not go into the Colossal Totem on level 1. And we have the potential of a Force Wall isolating a target.
Yeah, so it's kind of a weird setup, and I mean you still can make a hook kill work, but who's gonna burst the hook guy?
Yeah.
So I give Casual Logic Gaming the lead for the shrine contesting, because Sylvanas kind of can spread the love on the temple with her
the Shadow Dagger?
Shadow Dagger, yeah, thanks. And basically with Sonya as well with the Whirlwind, they can take down those skeletons quite fast here.
Overflowing Quither into with the wind has been taken. 22 of the minions already picked up. Keep in mind that Sylvanas also puts you in a position where you can split push against your opponent if you want to give up one of the shrines. Casual Logic Gaming is far from doing that, but still it's an option that they definitely have in the later stages. We have Feral Heart taken for a bit more lane sustain. Shattered Ground 2. And at this point the French team, not the French team, the Polish team, the mixed team, Oink. They are actually just letting this one go. They're going to bait the Punisher in. He's going to make his jump over the wall, and then they're going to try and burst it down, so that should happen. But a push with the Punisher and Sylvanas is pretty brutal and gets you a lot of value, and you can already see that exactly that is happening. That wall is going to fall, and potentially more than that.
I would have liked to see Sylvanas and the team, or the jump against Mopsio.
Yeah, Mopsio low, but they nearly got the 4 out of this. I'm liking it. Oh, Suris! What are you doing, dude? He stands on top of the Arcane Sentry. As a hardcore Diablo 3 player, I can tell you, this is a really, really bad idea.
Something deep inside you got triggered there.
Yeah, I lost my first Demon Hunter in hardcore mode, rest in peace, to an Arcane Sentry, which I refused to leave. I was standing on point there, and that nearly happened to him, so I can tell you that hurts.
I figured. So basically, I would have liked if they killed the small wall with Sylvanas and then just disabled the fort and just went for the fort immediately instead of taking down the wall first. It would have been greedy, yes, but it's still a nice approach with Sylvanas to just deny the whole shots going onto you. You could deny just the fort.
Look at you! The dirty tricks coming through here, yeah? I kinda like that.
So
a little bit greedy.
Queue,
a little bit greedy for sure, but yeah.
in solo queue, I don't advise anyone to do that in my games because it's probably not gonna work, but in competitive, maybe it should be a tactic.
Yeah, in a coordinated team setup, that sounds like something dirty. I like that. That's a pretty good idea. We have, by the way, we have seen that massive value that you can get out of Sylvanas, and that is the big risk that Oink is running here. If Sylvanas, with Punisher pressure, is able to push the lanes in, then Oink might actually fall behind quite fast. For now, though, they are trying to abuse the fact that in a complete teamfight setup, they have a very solid position and can really take the opponent on. They steal the camp away, and that is huge, and they're still able to get out of this, even with a hook. We have now level 7 talents for both of the teams. After the Shattered Ground on the side of Sonya to give a bit more pressure on the Shrine, we're having for her now the Ferocious Healing. We're seeing Barbed Shot, which is going to be a brilliant target against like the Punisher as well. Last Bite. We're seeing also the Lightning Serpent plus Gravity Crush, and this is really the time when we're gonna see if maybe Oink can win one of these Punishers. Keep in mind that, by the way, Muradin went straight into battle momentum for the cooldown reduction.
Yeah, so Mobster especially getting poked here quite a bit. He's kind of low. He does need to get some heals out of his 2 supports. But you can see the Shadow Dagger getting quite a lot of poke on the entire team, and that's not what Oink can deal with. They only have single target healing.
Yeah, they need to kind of force a fight if they really want to win one of those shrines, because right now the objective itself, and with the clear that we are seeing, we have CLG Gaming doing a pretty brilliant job gaining those Punishers. Yeah, so I feel the only chance for Oink to win one of those is to take a fight either on the shrine or before that to make sure that they have complete control over it.
Yeah, now look at it. The wall immediately taken down. Now Sylvanas should just disable the fort, and they will get a lot more value out of the Punisher. But they decide to just soak the lanes, get 10. But now they might collapse from both sides. Sassala and Sonya approaching.
Yeah, Lily is getting wrecked. Great hook here, and that's also the end of the fort. And this is exactly the snowball that we've been talking about. Sylvanas with so much value now, thanks to the Punisher. And, well, this is working really well for CLG Gaming. They're, of course, baiting the Punisher in again, but Suris is still in trouble here. He's able to escape and in the end, but already a 2-level lead that we're seeing for CLG Gaming.
Yeah, I think level 10 might be a good way of coming back for Team Oink. They will get the Starfall, they will get the Phoenix, and they will get Sundering, which are 3 heroics, which are kind of synergizing well together. Meanwhile, you can see on the team of CLG, they kind of have heroics which are strong on their own, but really don't synergize well together. Yeah. So I give the level 10 advantage to Team Oink here, but it's not gonna be level 10 versus 10 talents for so long, because the 2-level lead is kind of ramping up even stronger with Sylvanas. Once you're ahead, the snowball is going strong with her.
I totally agree with you. I feel like in this case, the one thing that CLG Gaming has to do is they have to keep the snowball up and they have to try and make sure that they'll always be a bit ahead. Because like the longer the game goes, the longer the game lasts, the higher the levels will be. The better Team Oink is going to be in these team fights, and the more difficult it's going to become to gain a Punisher for CLG Gaming. Unless, of course, they have that talent advantage, and that's something that they're going to be constantly looking for. So if at any point at like level 13 talents, level 16 talents, Oink can force a couple of team fights on even talents, they have, in my opinion, a really good shot at equalizing the experience by just like winning the team fight itself.
Shiro in the mid getting quite a get, getting a Sundering on him, and he might
lose his life. That's exactly what we were looking for. We have, by the way, the heal ult taken for Lily, the Jug of 1,000 Cups. boring. I wanted to see some
I-
water dragon damage, but yeah.
I like it and I don't like it at the same time. We were
There's nearly
talking-
no interrupts. There's only
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about Malfurion versus Sylvanas silence. If you see the silence Wailing Arrow, you just use your Tranquility. There's nothing which can happen to you. If you use Jack of a Thousand Cups instead, you will just get silence and waste your ultimate with that.
Yeah. I kind of understand why they go for it. I feel they really need it. But Water Dragon.
Yeah, it would have been so much cooler.
There's these heroes where you can totally understand why a team takes a certain heroic ability, but you still want to see the other one. That's one of them. So they get a lot of heal out of that, but of course they have to be careful, as Andy pointed out, that Sylvanas is not going to use that silent immediately. There's not even an attempt to go for that particular Punisher at the top. They know that they're going to lose it anyways, so instead they're going to just try and pressure down one of the structures at the bot lane to close in on level 13 talents so that they can fight on eye level with the opponent. Will of the Forsaken for Sylvanas right now. We're also seeing the Earth Shield, Prescience, Mystical Spear and Relentless. But the Punisher is starting to pressure, and that's the moment where we have to see Team Oink be back so that they have a chance of defending, because that Sylvanas is going to secure a huge amount of push power for the casual logic gaming now.
Normally I would say taking the bot fort for the top Punisher is kind of worth it in a situation where you're behind, but Sylvanas adds another depth to that. So we see the Sylvanas just disabling the structures now, and they might disable the keep soon enough. And look, they just killed the wall, and now Sylvanas goes through what I was talking about earlier. And they disable the keep immediately, so the Punisher loses less health. And we might look forward to kill on the keep here.
Yeah, there's Phoenix and Starfall being used, and the immediate disengage. Immediately the disengage and the attempt to follow it up. Punisher is already down. Sundering can be used, but they decide against it. They don't want to force the issue here. They took damage on the keep. But right now we are really starting to entering the scenario where we are all of a sudden on even talents, and I feel this is the really... do you agree with the assessment earlier that the longer the game lasts, the better the position of Oink is going to be to really start the comeback and take control of the game?
I mean, looking forward to level 20, definitely yes. Looking at the talents they might get at that point. But at 16 versus 16, I still have to give it to CLG, because they will get the Dimensional Warp, they will get the Fishing Hook. Those are two talents which are really important for those certain heroes, and especially the Fishing Hook. There's always the potential for the monster hook to just carry your team with. So I don't really see that 16 is giving Oink that much to just pressure them out of the win, but at 20, getting those blinks on Thrall, getting maybe the Rebirth, getting the Celestial Wrath and Rewind on Murden, those things might really hurt.
Yeah, here comes the attack, by the way, to go straight for Tacita maybe, but they're a little bit too late to lock him down. But yeah, there is quite a bit that they can use on 20. You're totally right about that. We have at least an attempt to actually make a hook maybe not as effective. We have, for example, on level 13 now, sprint taken that would allow Toronto to get away.
Looking at the top though, the keep is kind of getting low, but in the last second it gets defended.
Yeah, and now we have level 16, and I mean, this is the worst timing that we could see for Team Oink, right? The 16s are there, Shrine gets announced, and at the same time the bot lane is being pressured. CLG is really catering towards the strength of their composition at this point.
And this Punisher is only going to be a strong one. It's not going to be Immortal, it's going to be Frozen, which got buffed recently, or the Arcane Punisher, because we saw the Mortar one as the last one, so it's going to be really hairy for Oink to do something here with 2 levels down.
They have to kind of fight, I feel, and I feel this is exactly what they're going to do here. They know that if they lose this Punisher, it's going to mean keep. Very likely.
If not more.
Yeah, exactly. Mobster is already there. They're trying to fight here. They know that they are the talent down, but it's basically a fight that they are forced into, and they are taking it. Mobster is there. They take already the Phoenix in. Here comes the heal. Leader with a great positioning, actually, getting a lot of value for the team at this point. Trying to keep all of them alive. Shiku is putting the pressure onto Wolfjo. There's the Starfall as the follow-up, but they are starting to really empty all of the options that they have. And we still have Ancestral out, we still have the Wailing Arrow available, and it's just not working.
And even though the fight looked to be going in favor of Oink at the start, we still had to keep track out on the skeletons. They just got killed, meanwhile, by Sonya and Citrus Putrid. So we're just getting caught there.
Yeah, Suris is... Oh my god, that's the Wailing Arrow and the kill. That's one of the heroes that was not allowed to die there. Now we have the Punisher moving in, and like the casuals, they are going to try and end this now. They're going to go straight. That keep is like an easy kill. There's another 20 seconds on Kalthas, and I mean, just look at the keep falling. The Punisher is still at full HP and is walking towards the core. They are going to try and end the game right here. And I don't know how they're going to stop them, can they?
They should try to lure the Punisher into jumping into the keep range, but doing it like that, they will just get engaged on.
Yeah, not like this. Mopsio actually is just barely about to escape. They might be able to defend this, but it's going to be a close call. The Punisher is finally about to fall, but the core is already suffering quite a bit. Kalthas is back though, but Thrall is dead. If Leo dies, they have a chance. Mopsio is dying instead. Suris is once again low, gets hooked, gets eliminated, and this should be the end of it.
Yeah, I think just baiting the Punisher into the keep would have made it a little bit harder already for CLG to finish out that game. But great game by CLG, pushing really their strengths to the end.
Really well done. And well guys, we're going to jump into a third game, which is going to decide the last team to participate in tomorrow's qualifier. The third map is Cursed Hollow, Oink versus CLG, the second time that these two teams meet each other. And AntiHero, seriously, at this point, do you feel that it's a problem in CLG's like hero pool that they apparently have no one... Oh! I was about to say that they have no one to play Illidan, as they were once again looking at a ban, but they risk it, and they do ban out Sonya.
They do ban out Sonya and kind of showing... Man, we're going to pick Illidan because Sonya is one of the greatest counters against Illidan, as we all know. So there's not gonna be a ban on Fawcett, but Fawcett and Illidan open here.
Oh, they pick him! I was actually about to say that Oink is calling the bluff and goes for a ban on Dehaka, because so far, every single time they had the chance, they banned Illidan, but they actually pick him. It looked a lot like they were struggling playing against Illidan, but they didn't want to play Illidan either. So... we are all of a sudden having an Illidan in play, and a very interesting dynamic for our last draft of the day.
Yeah, it kind of is weird that CLG, who has been banning out that hero, suddenly tries to play it, but it might be a bluff all the way along, that they're like, yeah, we can play it, and kind of mind gaming their opponent a little bit. But we see Oink picking Thrall and KT. I would say both heroes are kind of good against Illidan, but they could also really struggle against him at the same time.
I would have preferred for them to pick the Tassadar away.
Yeah, it's kinda... I don't see picking Katie with Illidan, so I wouldn't have picked the Katie now. And Thrall, I mean, as good as he is against Illidan at times, I don't think they needed to pick him as well. I would have, like, if CLG picks Murden as well now, or Rega, that's kind of a full Illidan composition already. So... that's kind of a good pick.
Rough Baby, also apparently impressed by the Illidan pick here. Thanks, dude. Yeah, that Tassadar. I'm scared. I'm a little scared.
Evener.
Yeah, good evening to you too, dude. Tassadar and Uther. Rough Baby, thanks a lot. Rega or Uther, both of them would be fine. I feel like Rega is a bit better even.
Rega is the more classic approach, right? It's like the Rega Illidan composition.
I just like the Lightning Shield so much. If you have the Lightning Shield on Illidan as well, I mean, he does even more damage jumping into the backline on a Kalthas, for example.
It feels like you have double immolation on you. Suddenly.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, right now, that comp already looks scary, and they haven't really done anything. Except picking Illidan and getting that Tassadar and saying, like, alright, we're gonna take it.
Going back to the old days, CLG, they are former Gamers 2 players, and they used to play a composition revolving, on this map especially, revolving around Rega, Tassadar, Illidan, as, I mean, that's kind of standard, but they used to pick Tyrael with Judgment and Sylvanas with the Silence Arrow. So they went full Smog, kinda, and threw the Wailing Arrow into the front, jumping in, and Judgment as well.
Tic Tac, thanks dude for the sub here, but... Yeah, we have I actually like this draft here. I find it very, very interesting that CLG for the last map started to just completely deviate from the usually pick and ban pattern, and that we have an Illidan right now that shakes things up a lot. ETC being banned out makes sense. It's one of the great CC tanks that you have against an Illidan. There's always the risk of a mosh pit as well, even with a cleanse. That's a huge problem, or can be.
Yeah, but leaving Burden open, his 50% attack speed slow with reverberation is really strong against Illidan as well.
It feels, on the other hand, that a lot of Illidan players are okay going up against Meriden these days. A lot of teams, when you look at them, even if they pick their own tank, we have seen a lot of teams that leave Meriden even open when they have a chance to pick it away. Because Illidan, like Meriden together with Brightwing and Sylvanas were like the three big counters against Illidan for a long time, right? And
Yeah.
especially with the Reparation build that you just mentioned. But right now, we have Meriden, they let it go, they ban out ETC instead, being more afraid of the mosh pit. We have Meriden immediately being picked up by Oink for the reasons that you pointed out. I have to admit that that Malfurion pick
Ooh.
is, hashtag awkward.
I'd remember, I'm talking all this, right? When I was playing in the team,
Yeah.
that we used to practice double healer. I mean, we kind of brought that into the meta at some point, and we played Malfurion with silence a lot, right? And it got a lot of popularity recently, and it could be a silence Malf against Illidan. You jump in, then you are silenced for 3 seconds, and that kind of hurts Illidan a lot. So we might see I could definitely see like a Lily Malf combo against Illidan. That's what people try to run back in the past against Illidan compositions, and it could count out Illidan well.
That's actually a really good point. That is something that could really work out for them here.
I mean, they showed the Lily already. I don't know if they will show it again. I don't know if they're capable of playing Silence Malf, since it's kind of a newer thing. But CLG going for interesting picks here. Johanna with Illidan, maybe going for a Falling Sword. And Lunara, kind of a weird decision in my opinion, because she's more like the damage over time kind of pokey hero, while they have kind of an all-in setup with Illidan.
But it's an incredible chase setup if they get it.
Yeah,
I mean, Vala is like, this is
yeah.
the traditional pick
Yeah.
for Illidan.
Yeah, Johanna wasn't really the most traditional one, but Vala, we've seen those 4 heroes. You can go back to the old VODs and check those out.
I have still a lot of VODs on my channel where we had Illidan with an ETC going for stage dive, and then both of them jumped the backline at the same time. That was
and then you
crazy.
had Vala with Strafe, and then Rega and Tassada, or Rega and Abatha. And that was kind of the classic composition. And we kind of see some resemblance here. Maybe with Falling Sword, they will just dive deep here.
I actually went to my YouTube channel recently and looked at a few of their games that are roughly like 1.5 years old. Like the UI looked completely different. Vala had battle momentum, I still never forget. And like, it's crazy. The game has come a long, long way. But coming back to Oink, you mentioned the potential of Twilight Dream. I like it against Illidan actually a lot. It didn't even cross my mind. But if he jumps in, and they could definitely use that, especially since they have a huge lack of interrupt. I mean, one of the big disadvantages of going into Twilight Dream is that you have a bit of a channel time and you can get interrupted. But in this case, it's not even going to be a huge issue for them, since first of all, Illidan is the one who's going to try and jump into the backline, so he's going to be isolated already. But they look at a Zeratul for now.
That's also a more traditional approach, where you had like those big melee assassins against each other, like where you had Zeratul kind of VPing the enemy backline, the healers in particular, to try to deny the setup for Illidan. But
then again, if they play a Zeratul right now, do you still feel against Tassada? I feel it's not even my biggest problem. If let's talk for a second level 10s, right? There's a lot of synergy that Oink has overall, but that Malfurion, if he goes not into Twilight Dream, but he goes into the heal, I have to admit that in that case, I wouldn't really like the pick at all.
Yeah, I think that Malf will go healing. It's just more solid. I mean, healing ult against Illidan is also fine. You don't out-heal the single target burst of Illidan, but you kind of do a good chunk against it, because it's not really bursty. But
they lack well, not really lack, but I feel like
I feel like the Lily pick would have maybe even crushed CLG to the ground here.
We have seen Lily builds against Illidan in the past that actually worked, and
Yeah.
I agree. I would have liked them to experiment a little bit more with that, considering that they already showed a Lily bit earlier. Malfurion
don't-
can work, but my
Yeah.
problem with this is, if at any point that fight even slightly turns against them, they are going to get completely wrecked.
Yeah, that's the problem. If Malf maybe instantly dies to a Johanna Falling Sword and then maybe a good strafe with good Illidan focus, that could have just put Malf out of the team fight immediately.
What do you think even about Zeratul? I mean, if they don't go, like Zeratul for Tyrande, for example. Yes, you have more heroes that have even less escapes, but you have a vulnerable against Illidan. There's no Divine Shield on the opponent's side. You have a double support that is helping you a little bit, and you have the double stun with Muradin, Thrall, Kalthas, and Tyrande. Do you think that would have been a decent option for them too?
Yeah, maybe it would have been, but I think it's still the fine composition that Oink have here.
It's definitely going to be a very interesting game, guys. It's the last map in the best of 3 series, and that Illidan definitely has shaken up the entire dynamic of the match a lot. So we're going to jump in and see what the Zeratul composition can do against the Illidan setup here. Oink versus CLG, the last map of the day, and also, of course, the last map in the best of 3 series. Illidan versus Zeratul, ladies and gentlemen. We are on Cursed Hollow, the last map in the best of 3 series, and to the left, Ziku on Muradin, Mopsio on Zeratul, we have Surius on Kalthas, we're seeing Wolfjo on Thrall, and Lunan on Malfurion. And to the right side of the map, we're currently having Rega played by Leo from Korea for the Polish team, Casual Logic Gaming, Kreku on Tazza, Shiku on Illidan, Juf on Johanna, and Nika on Vala. Pretty old school composition here for them, which is being played a lot more these days as well. Unless, of course, Illidan is banned out, which he is more or less in most of the games, but this time he went through the draft.
Yeah, with kind of the mind games going through there.
Exactly, Oink kind of trying to call the bluff that turned out to not be a bluff, because, well, CLG banned out in every single game, no matter if they were first pick or second pick, Illidan, so it looked like they didn't even want to play him, and that's what Oink kind of banked their hopes on. So right now they're trying to play Mopsio with Zeratul against Tacita. It's definitely going to be a very interesting game that we're seeing.
Yeah, I'm interested in Mopsio utilizing the Zeratul here. He has to make some plays happen with ganks on either side of the map. Maybe even looking forward to minute 2, you will see Illidan do a hard or easy camp, and that's most likely when Mopsio will try to strike and take him down.
Yeah, once that we have the 2-minute mark and the camps appear on the map, that's definitely one of the moments when Illidan is starting to miss on the map and you are trying to find out which camp he's going for, and that's where Zeratul can make his play. Who went, by the way, into block. Not only Zeratul, but both of the melee assassins did that. So we have Zeratul and Thrall, both with a block talent, which makes sense against the setup, especially with Vala plus Illidan. Vala, of course, going for the hybrid build with the multi-shot talents on level 1. But that's going to be a very interesting setup that we're seeing right now, with Illidan already being on the hunt against Mopsio and trying to show him where his place is.
Yeah, interesting also about block that it got buffed recently, so it's not 50% anymore, it's 75, so Illidan will do a little bit less damage, but it's not like Illidan is trying to hit Thrall or Zeratul all the time. He will most likely try to go for the Malf or the KT in this case.
Yeah, definitely true. Especially like Kalthas should be a priority target for him if he gets his hands on it. 10s are going to be quite interesting because we still expect, of course, Johanna could go into the Falling Sword, let's just put it that way. It would be perfect to see a Twilight Dream against Illidan, but let's face it, with Malfurion being the solo support, it's very unlikely that that's going to happen. In theory, it's a pretty cool talent to take here.
Looking at Mopsio, he's checking. Look, he's at the easy camp right now, he checks. It's not there, Mopsio sneaking around, he knows that they are going to do a camp. He will face 2 people though, so he will not be able to do anything about that.
Muradin is thinking about moving over, but Kreku is following it up, so there's no chance for them to move in. Yeah. It would have been a 2 versus 3 and you can't really engage into that.
Oh, if that reveal would have happened a little bit earlier and Mopsio would have been in the fort range, that slow would have hurt him a lot and maybe the enemy team would have been capitalizing on that.
Nika at the bot lane, being attacked here. Lunan and Suris trying to get the kill, but nice movements on the side of Vala. Now that the first tribute is up, we have already a bit of a trap set up here.
Oh, the crap.
Uh-oh, Ziku is very low going into this, trying to jump away. And that should give the first tribute already into the hands of the red team, considering that a lot of the heroes are on half HP for the blue team.
Oh, Zurus is a bit out of position here, but he can escape due to his gravity lapse.
Yeah, they're trying to... Okay, they interrupt the tribute again. There comes the root as well. It's a 5 versus 5. We have Juve moving in. Both of the teams on level 4 talents at this point. Friend of foe taken for Illidan. Can jump in again. As always, the double support. Kel'Thas is already down. Muradin is being attacked, and the first tribute is definitely going to be taken.
Deep there.
Oh, he goes deep, and he nearly gets the kill, but it's Vala who finishes it off with the second kill of the game against Muradin. This could not have started any worse for Team Oink.
Yeah, Nika with the composite arrows making the use of that kill, and in the meantime, the hard camp taken earlier by Rega and Illidan basically enabled to take down an entire wall. And Vala meanwhile at the bottom died.
Did she die at the bottom? Yeah, she did. Against Zero. Okay, Zeratul with a kill. That is actually a really important one right now, because they are already starting to fall far behind. Not only are the towers taken down, the mid lane is already you elaborated on, but we have the early level 7 talent, which gives even more momentum to them. Reflexive block taken, Kala's Embrace. We're seeing them with Conviction and the Searing attacks. It's a really, really sick setup right now for the Illidan comp, and the problem with Illidan is if they gain momentum, and if Illidan is able to even get a lead in levels or talents, that's even worse. I mean, it's difficult enough to stop that guy in the first place, but if he gains momentum, then it's nearly impossible.
Yeah, the game right now revolves around Illidan. The one team, CLG that is trying to put everything on Illidan, trying to make him work. The other team is trying to make everything against him, and Zura is getting jumped.
Yeah, Zura is already down, and this is not looking good for Oink. Mopsio is trying to escape here, Zico is jumping out too, Wolfjoy is on the run, and Illidan is just like going in, going deep, trying to go for the kill here. They get Thrall, it's another double kill, 4 kills against 1, a level lead already, second tribute gonna be picked up. Yeah.
Yeah, 1 level lead already. As we had this on Khaldor earlier as well, you can give up tributes in the case you want to get some experience on the other side of the map, but on the bottom again, the camp pushing, meanwhile the action happening on the other side of the map. It's kind of the unsung hero so far. Those 2 camps, the Harp and the Siege camp, basically took 2 walls down on their own already.
It's a 1.5 level lead at this point, which means that there is no way, there's absolutely no chance for Oink to save the last tribute. It's not going to happen. Unless they get an insane pick-off before level 10s happen, well, they might be able to make a play, but it's exactly the opposite. It's a kill against Malfurion.
And Mopsio also got revealed.
Yeah,
so
he's on the run. And there's level 10 now. There's Raid of Vengeance now picked up on top of this. Mopsio is attempting to go away. There's no chance. He's gonna die too. They're chasing him into oblivion. They might have even wasted a little bit too much time, which is not really worth it, but they get the kill either way. Zeratul is dead, which means it's a 4 versus 5 as the tribute spawns. Level 10s are there too. It's gonna be a curse against them. Bosses can be taken. AntiHero, is there any chance that Oink is not losing this game?
Well, in the hands of Mopsio, a good placed Void Prison could maybe turn around the flow of a fight. So that's what the one major thing which can get used in the hands of Team Oink here. But besides that, 2 level lead, the structure's getting pushed, Juve in the middle, Illidan, Vala, and Tassada at the bottom. I believe that's kind of a rough spot to be in, and also bosses might be taken after the curse. We're looking basically at more than a 2 level lead already.
Yeah, and I mean the problem is you always want to try and keep the Illidan composition low, and especially in the early game, this is where you have your best chance to control the Illidan. But right now they are looking at exactly the opposite. They lost the early game already, they have a very tough mid game. They just now have the level 10s finally, but they already lost the fort at the bot lane. They're about to lose the one at the middle of the map as well. Again, Vala going into the rain, not really doing anything. The Void Prison wasn't too bad. Follow up with the roots here, but the attack is still going for Malf. The heals for Shiku. Maybe a bit of an early ancestral here, but better safe than sorry. They can disengage right now. They still have a massive 2 level lead, and a lot of heroic abilities have already been committed. Actually, both of the teams committed everything they had to this.
But that Void Prison was the one they needed. 4-man Void Prison, but Wolfjoy and Mopsio not synergizing well. Wolfjoy using the Sundering on one guy only while the Void Prison was active. That was kind of a blunder by them to use the cooldowns at the same time. They should have communicated that better. And now, imagine the Void Prison gets followed up by 4-man Sunring. That would have turned around the whole fight. It was a good attempt though. They didn't lose anything out of it, they just trade bosses now. And if you trade something while you're behind, you're getting more out of it. Unless it's like close to level 20 in such scenarios.
I mean, it really feels like what this game so far is really coming down to is the draft, where we had CLG for the first time not banning Illidan, and Oink trying to call that potential bluff and banning out the Haka over Illidan, saying like, you banned Illidan out every game, you don't have an Illidan player, or you don't want to play him, we are gonna call that, and it ended up with Illidan being picked up immediately by CLG. I feel like that's really what it comes down to at this point.
Yeah, the one good thing for Oink right now, they can trade fort for fort, recall, and try to defend the keep. They will probably lose the keep wall due to the boss pushing, but they can at least trade the key, fort for fort, and it's good when you're behind to get the fort for free by the boss.
Yeah, up at the top lane, we are already seeing the pressure against the wall. Bottom fort, as you pointed out, is already about to be taken by the boss. And they need to be very careful that they are not getting snowballed here. If they lose a hero at this point, that would be a disaster. But the boss is going through the wall. There's already Illidan starting to jump in once again. The stun is ready. Shiku has to be careful, gets shielded and healed. And here comes the level 10 ability, the Phoenix immediately being dropped to zone, and they can defend against the boss without losing much more than the wall itself.
Yeah, bot boss still going, but it's not gonna get too much done anymore. And we see basically the 2.5 level lead got to a 2 level lead, and it's kind of a bit stale at the moment, and there's going to be a trap on Moxio.
Oh my god, and a great lockdown. Really well done. The synergy between not only the Rain of Vengeance, but also the Blessed Shield, definitely there. And now Shiku is on the hunt once again, starting to jump in. Great Sunring, and the kill against Illidan. And immediately we're having a team CLG moving back. Oink with the attempted follow-up. It's a 4 versus 4, and this is exactly what they were hoping for. They took Illidan down, and now they're trying to clean house. Ansu still saving at least Johanna for now, but Malfurion already with Tranquility. Ziku is very, very low and has to jump away, and Lunan is getting engaged upon. He falls, and that is once again a huge problem for the team in blue. But can they kill Leo? They can't, and they lose Thrall now as well.
The Void Prison though hitting, but I don't think there's enough follow-up on that one. Maybe on Nika though, and Nika dies.
Juve might die as well, and he does. It's a double kill. Zeratul coming back just in time. That definitely helped them. It was a bit of a defender's advantage here with Zeratul, or with the entire fight taking place towards the left side of the map. Zeratul had the opportunity to join the team fight again, whereas Illidan couldn't really do anything. But in terms of experience, it's still like level 16 any moment now against level 14.5.
Yeah, but you have to look on it on a positive way. They already got to 1 level closer than they were, like maybe a little bit less. That's a really good already. But the main key factor to the last fight, Shiru with his Illidan going deep, and Wolfjo with the perfect Sunring on everyone he needed to hit. Basically taking down Shiro immediately with KT afterwards, so that was a really nice play by Wolfjo.
It all started with a great pickup against Zeratul, by the way. A nice trap, and then the synergy between the Rain of Vengeance and the Blessed Shield. Blessed Shield basically being hit at the perfect moment in time to make sure that the second wave of the Rain of Vengeance hits Zeratul as well, and then they could take him down. Blink was still in cooldown, so that worked really well for them. Right now, though, we have both of the Lightning Shield talents taken on 13 and 16. Illidan going into Marked for Death, which is also going to be great for him. And we have Vala with a little bit more sustain thanks to the Blood for Blood. They really need to try and like snowball that even a little bit more, I feel, because level 16 talents could maybe bring Oink back into the game. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like it's a really stale time on the map at the moment. There's not much on the map. Bosses 1 minute on the timer. Tributes, it's 1-0 for Oink at the moment, which are behind. So it's not like CLG will get the curse anytime soon. So it's gonna be 16 versus 16 as it is right now, and teams are gonna play a little bit slower. But now Oink gets really good talents towards killing Illidan actually, with the Tempest Fury and Tenacious Roots as well.
Yeah, they closed the gap in experience a lot more than I thought they would be able to, thanks to the kills that they got earlier. So maybe that's the chance for them. 4 kills against 9 overall. Illidan, of course, still trying to look for an opportunity. They already move in. Nice. They have the slow now with Vala as well. Thanks to the Frost Shot, they're jumping in again. decent Void Prison, but not good enough. The root follow-up, Malfurion already going straight for the Tranquility. Nika is a little bit low, so is Greku. He needs to get away there. Very tricky for him. He uses the Dimensional Warp. Again, the Force Wall being used. Once more Tesla moving away, but Illidan is still on the hunt, trying to go for Thrall this time. Sundering has already been used. All the heroic abilities are in cooldown. Juve is extremely low. So is Wolfju, though. He gets slowed down and eliminated. That's the kill that they were hoping for. Now they're trying to go in again with Juve. And Illidan is looking for an opportunity to jump and slow them down. Doesn't get that, but they got the kill, and 2 bosses are up, and they can try and get those now.
Yeah, the fight basically going really well. The Void Prison only on Rega, it's not the best, but they tried to take down Vala immediately. They almost succeeded with that if it wasn't for Tassadar and his great shields there. Like, really props to Kreko there. And now that the cooldowns were gone afterwards, no Void Prison, no Storm Balls, nothing basically against Illidan, he just went back in to the fight and basically used his chances while the cooldowns were up for Team Oink here.
Kreku in general just like doing a really good job on his Tassadar. I mean, he had 2 shifts that he used and the warp for hit points, and he kept himself alive for so long because there was a huge attempt on the side of Team Oink to take him down here, and he did really an exceptional job. Damage output, by the way, 39,000 currently on the side of Vala, 30,000 for Thrall, the 2 highest damage dealers for the 2 teams. Bosses are being attacked right now. There's of course a bit of an advantage maybe with the Tassadar team being able to use the shields here. Boss is going to definitely put some pressure onto the keep at the top lane. We're going to see a lot less at the bottom, but it's more or less an even exchange that we see. And it's a lot is about the level 20 abilities now.
Yeah, the interesting part is going to be now, it's going to be curse time now for the team of CLG if they manage to get the tribute. And the fighting position is gonna determine a lot here. Illidan is good when he can go to wide spaces where he can chase and not get CC locked in tight corridors where it's like a concave or anything. So having this spot is kind of the basically medium way where it's like a concave and an open spot. So it's kind of better for CLG right now to have not a bad spot.
Yeah, Zico is already taking some damage. Oh, there's the channel, but the Phoenix is there. Void Prison is not too bad. Here comes, on the other hand, the attempt to go for Vala. That's not successful. Wolfjoy is already in a little bit of trouble. Tranquility has been used. Leo is eating a lot of bombs here, but Suris is in so much pain right now. He goes down, so does Vala, though. Mopsio is in the backline trying to dish out the damage, but Illidan is basically doing the exact same thing. Jumping in again, trying to go for Luna, and Wolfjoy is still on full HP, and once again Meridian is jumping in for the Reverberation, trying to lock him down. The Stormbolt is there. There's stun CC against Shihu. Ancestral has already been used, but Tassadar is still using one shield after another. Juve is moving in, and Illidan still on the hunt, going for Meridian. He gets locked down for a moment. The jump, and Zico just barely survives, but again the shield. Blink used by Mopsio. They all escape. It's an even trade, but that tribute is still available, and that will curse Team Oink.
Yeah, in this fight again, you could see basically the strength of Illidan. At the start of the fight, there was a really nice pressure against Vala, in my opinion. They baited the Ancestral on Vala, so they can maybe take down Illidan easier. Mopsio did a great job of just killing the Vala in the end with a Chain Bomb on her, and basically Illidan then, when no cooldowns were up, he just went in. When the cooldowns were back again, the Tempest Fury especially, he just activates his dodge at the right time. He doesn't waste his cooldown. So very good job by Shihu, not wasting his cooldowns and going for the right spells at the right time.
He did a really great job there. I mean, several times he was incredibly low and they were able to keep him alive, and then he jumped back in, and it was actually a very nice retreat too when we are looking at the cooldowns that were used on the side of Meridian and also Zeratul. Both of them were about to die. 1 or 2 auto attack hits away from falling, and they were able to escape here. Here comes again the attempt now to go for a fight before level 20 hits for CLG, and that's a fight that they shouldn't really take. They do though. If they win it, that would be amazing, but here comes the Void Prison against Stu. Illidan has to use his Metamorphosis immediately and does exactly that. Ancestral is through now too. Shihu is still in trouble, trying to get away here. Juve is also about to fall, and Vala is already dead. Huge mistake of CLG to take this fight.
Yeah, that was a really nice decision.
Double kill against them. That was a huge mistake here to actually take that fight. They should have just retreated a little bit more.
Nice decisive this fight win by Team Oink here, trying to enable their comeback. It was really the last moment. Mopsio jumping in, putting the Void Prison, saying, guys, we need to force it now or never.
Yeah, and they get it. I mean, now we have also on Rhaegar, for example, the rewind. If that would have been available in the last fight, even a double Earth Shield would have probably won the fight for them. Not even to speak about the double heals that they have in this case. So right now we're seeing, and like, there's the demonic form, we have indestructible, and CLG just got a bit too greedy in that last moment.
Yeah, now, like, looking at Illidan now, demonic form, man, that's incredible pickup for him now. He's gonna have such an easy time now, like easier time against Murden, Thrall and all those heroes, because he gets the CC reduction and the attack speed increase against them as well. So the 20s, in my opinion, are kind of in favor of CLG here. And I mean, Oink doesn't have the worst pickups, but I feel some of them, like Master of Flames, don't really add anything to kill the Illidan in the end.
Well, it's one of the things that could, of course, cause a lot of pain and spread the bombs here, but then again, we have so much reduction on his part, that's going to be tricky. I kind of like still that we have on Zeratul at least the rewind now, so he can put a little bit more pressure and potential burst in too.
Yeah, but I don't like Ziku's pickup on the Hardened Shield here, and also the Burning Rage. If he would have rewind with Thunderstrike, they could... Oh, there's the fight going.
Yeah, there we go. Mopsio already trying to put some damage in, he himself. There's a nice first Rain Wave. The second one not so great, but once again we have Shiku in the backline. Lunan is trying to use his Tranquility, but Mopsio is taken down already. Great heals here with the Ancestral as well. Nika's still alive, and so is Kreko. They're jumping in against take Malfurion down now too, and Illidan is still going for it. He's finally taken out, but it's a 3-for-1 trade already. But we still have Tassadar dying, and maybe Nika now too if Jiku has that. Thrall is falling. Vala. There's another real. Where's the storm? No. He misses the storm bolt, but he still has the level 13 talent, the Burning Rage, to take him apart.
Well, if you cannot hit your storm bolt, Burning Rage is still a good option.
Pretty good talent, yeah.
Yeah. So, to finish my thought, like Murden with Thunderstrike and Rewind could put more pressure on Illidan. Stun, Thunderstrike, Rewind, Stun, Thunderstrike would do about, I don't know, 1500 damage to Illidan immediately if he gets the isolation on that. So that would have been a pickup I would have liked to just burst down the Illidan, but also kind of seems hard again. Against Tassadar, he took the Storm Shield, Rhaegar with the Rewind just to give the additional instant heal. All those things kind of add up to Illidan getting through everything.
Yeah. Absolutely, like, Buradin could do so much with that rewind. Zico did not go for it. I have to give a bit of credit here to Team Oink though. Considering the situation in the game and also how this game started, they're in a much better position than I thought they would be at this point. And that is basically with the position in the game that we have right now. With 21 minutes in, we are now in a spot where I have to say that this is just one team fight away from one team going for the first keep here. So this can end either way. Depending on how Illidan goes into these fights, one wrong move by Shiku in a team fight, and if he is bursted down, then this can turn against CLG within seconds.
Last fight it was kind of awkward. Mobster got a good Void Prison, and he wanted to open it but couldn't in time because he got stunned by the Johanna Condemn. And while the spells were going on, Mobster with a big mistake there.
Yeah, and he is dead, and that is a massive problem right now. Tribute is spawning, doesn't really do anything for CLG, but it makes sure that at least, well, Team Oink does not get a curse. The boss taken at this point is also pretty huge because the rotation to the bot lane is very, very slow. And
but
if they wanted, they could go for it.
Yeah, if they take the top boss, I think it's gonna go into Team CLG going for the core as well. The top keep is exposed. It's Illidan, right? Illidan is annoying when he's on the core. He's just gonna jump around and your team cannot really focus him as well. He's gonna just get the cooldowns as well.
Yeah, they're gonna go for the siege camps too now.
Yeah, and the boss at the bottom, it's gonna take the keep. It's gonna get core damage, maybe, but it's not gonna finish it on its own, right?
Yeah.
So the move towards the top by CLG is trying to end the game.
Keep in mind, though, there's like 10 seconds on Zeratul and he has the Void Prison cooldown up. That's one thing to consider for sure. So down here we have the keep already about to fall. Zico is there, Zeratul is back any moment now. And we have, of course, the attempt to go for the core, but already Shiku under a lot of trouble here. Gets healed by Rhaegar. No Ancestral is used at this point. We're having Luna committing to the Tranquility. Here's that Void Prison. Juve is the only one. They can't really capitalize on it too much. We have also Sundering still available, but the boss is already on the core, and the Siege Giants are moving in as well as the double wave is hitting. Malfurion, Lunan is in trouble. They're going for the core. They're just right-clicking it at this point. They don't care at all. Vala is down, but it doesn't matter anymore. This is victory for CLG, a 2-1 against Team Oink, and they will play in a last chance DreamHack Tour Qualifier. Congratulations.